Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, then hello, my name is Arya and welcome to my channel. As you can probably see from the title of this video, today I'm going to be talking about some of the books that I want to read in the month of February. And considering that February is the smallest month of the year, this TBR is ridiculous. I will in no way get to all of these books. Like, this is not a possibility. I think even if I read every single day of the month, for the vast majority of the day, I will still not get to all of these books. So this is just sort of a mood reading TBR because I am 100% a mood reader and I just pick up books on a whim. I don't like to have fixed TBRs. So these are just kind of some books that I picked up that I feel like I might be in the mood for, or at least I'm in the mood for them right now, but who knows what's gonna happen in a week. So this is sort of the situation with this TBR. First off, I want to start with two books that I did not manage to finish in January because there is not enough time in the month and I started two ridiculously long books towards the end of the month and obviously did not manage to finish them. So one of the two books that I'm currently in the middle of is Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas. This is the fifth book in the Throne of Glass series, I believe, and I will not explain what this is about because I think at this point it's ridiculous. Everyone knows what this is about. There's assassins, kingdoms to be saved, dark stuff happening, lots of adventure, really good stuff. So I started reading this around the middle of January and it was all nice and fun, but at some point I kind of started getting bored, not because there's anything wrong with the book. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the book. The book is fantastic so far, but I just started getting bored because I wanted something else. Like, I wasn't in the mood for it. And so I picked up something else to change the vibes a little bit. And the book that I picked up is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. So the story with this book, because there is a story. So this recently-ish got adapted into a TV show, and out of the blue I just decided to sit down and watch the TV show. And prior to doing that, I had absolutely no desire to read this series. Okay, so yes, I sat down to watch the first episode and I fell completely in love with that TV show. So I watched the first episode and then I was like, okay, this is really good. This is giving me some vibes that I'm liking. Actually, no, not liking, loving, and I need to read the series before I'm gonna continue watching. And so I immediately went and ordered the entire series and I just started it. I started reading it because I could not focus on anything else. No other book, no other TV show. I just needed A Discovery of Witches, which is part of the reason why I couldn't continue with this one, because I just needed this and I was not in the mood for this anymore. And so that is what happened. And as you can see, these are both ridiculously long books. They are over 600 pages, both of them, like almost 700, and that is a big book. And so obviously I was not gonna manage to finish them in January, and so here we are. Now, a little bit about this book. I'm gonna try and describe what I know already because I like going into books not knowing too much, and you're gonna notice this throughout the video and throughout my channel because I don't like going into books knowing too much. I like to keep it pretty vague, like maybe know one or two words or like just the vibe of the book. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone, but I go off of vibes, not complete synopses. I don't know what I'm saying, but anyways, in this book we have our main character Diana, and Diana is a witch, but she doesn't want to be a witch. She wants to be a normal, what even is normal nowadays? A normal human being. And so she has a career as this alchemy historian And she's currently, like, the book starts off with her in the Oxford University in the library looking at old ass manuscripts and studying alchemy. And one of those manuscripts seems to be enchanted or like under a spell or something, and something happened. There's this like a ripple of magic that everyone feels, and different creatures are starting to follow her, and basically they're all after the manuscript. And after that whole thing with the manuscript happens in the library, she meets this dark, broody, sexy, tall vampire, and his name is Matthew. And basically they start a sort of thing between them. Yeah, basically just things go on from there. There's a stuff happening with the sun right now. Just ignore it. But anyhow, that's where I'm gonna leave it off at, because that's essentially all I know. I don't know anything else. Just Diana, Matthew, sexy vampire, manuscript. Everyone wants the manuscript. Diana does not want anything to do with the manuscript or magic. And that's it. So I am loving this, but it is quite slow paced. And Deborah Harkness, the author of this, is a historian. And I think you can kind of tell that from the writing. It kind of reads like a history book in the sense that it's slow and very detailed and there's a lot of information. But at the same time, I am enjoying this and I'm loving the dark academia vibes. Everything I want right now is dark academia books, and you will kind of see this in my TBR. And this leads me to the next book that I want to read, which is of the utmost importance. I have to read this month. If I don't read this by the end of this month, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. But basically, not reading this is not an option. And I'm talking about Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. And the reason I'm holding this one up is because the original is like over here under this stack and I did not feel like taking it out. So we're holding this one that was readily available. So this book is set in the Shadowhunter Chronicles world, and it is set after the events of the Infernal Devices series. So in here we follow the children of the characters from the Infernal Devices. That is all I know. The era and who we're following, the characters. And honestly, I don't need to know more. I am so deep in the Shadowhunter series at this point that I'm just gonna pick up the next book no matter what it's about. And so this is the next book and I have to read this. Have to, because the next one, Chain of Iron, is coming out on the 2nd of March, and this has to be read by then because I will 100% need the next one. I will need the sequel, I'm guessing. I don't know, I'm assuming. Knowing me, I'll probably need the sequel. Even though, what am I even saying? I don't even like reading books, like series back to back. So I might not get to the sequel immediately, but I still want to read this. I want to have the option of being able to pick up the sequel. I work in a very strange way. Like my brain just does its impulsive thing. Next up, I have here Terror of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas, and this is the 6th book in the Throne of Glass series. And since finishing the 5th book is a very big possibility in the month of February, I would like to have the option of continuing with the series. So this is the next book, and it is a possibility that I might start this, because I doubt I will finish it, but I might start this month. Well, technically today's the 30th, so next month, but I think by the time you'll be seeing this video, it's gonna be February already. Would like to read this. From what I know, this book goes off on a little bit of a tangent from the main story, because in here we follow Cowell. That's how I think you say his name. That's how I say his name anyways. So I'm not gonna say anything else, but I think this goes off on a tangent in the story, which I'm not really excited about, to be quite honest. I don't know how I feel about that yet, but who knows? Who knows? I'm gonna have to finish Empire of Storms before I know for sure. And now I'm gonna go into the books that I might or maybe not read this month, who knows, but it's just like some books that are speaking to me at the moment, they're just calling my name, even though every single unread book on my shelves are calling my name, but these are especially screeching into my ears that read me, like, you need to read me. So let's just dive into that portion, I guess. One of the books is none other than From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. That name is hard for me to say for some reason. I don't know, my tongue just gets tangled by itself. Anyway, everyone has been reading this book, and by everyone I mean everyone. And I'm experiencing some FOMO, and I want to read this book as well because honestly, it sounds great. It's like high fantasy, angsty romance between a princess of sorts and a vampire, I believe. Do not quote me on that, but that's all I know about this. Like, I know it's sort of a forbidden romance, maybe, or like enemies to lovers, but this is a steamy, high fantasy romance, and I don't need to know more. Like, this is something I know I will love because I'm a fan of steamy high fantasy romances, or they don't even have to be steamy, but just high fantasy romances. Yes. Do I need to know more? No. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love this. So it's a very possible option for this month. And also, I don't know what is it with me, but lately I've been reading giant books because this one, it may not look like it, but I think is also over 600 pages. And I'm pretty sure Chain of Gold is also over 600 pages, and so is Tower of Dawn. So this is like a big book club thing happening, which I'm not completely mad about, to be honest. I don't mind a big book, means it's gonna be interesting and there's gonna be a lot to read, especially if the story is good. Give me a big book. Another book that I might get to in February is one that I've mentioned quite a few times now already, and it is a shame that I have not gotten to this yet. Like, what is wrong with me? Why have I not read this yet? And the book that I'm talking about is Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin. I've been wanting to read this since the moment I finished Serpent and Dove, but at that time, this was not released yet, so I had to wait. And I have waited, and now I have it in my hands, and I still have not picked it up, so what the hell is wrong with me? But then again, I know what's wrong. What's wrong is that I keep getting distracted and excited by other things like A Discovery of Witches, which was not something I planned for. But who knows, maybe this is the month. This might be the month. Fingers crossed, but honestly, knowing me, I doubt it. So let me tell you a bit about what this series is about. Essentially, in Serpent and Dove, you start off the book with our main character, Lou, and she is a witch. And what intrigued me about this series and what made me want to pick it up is the fact that I knew that a witch and a witch hunter, his name is Reed, they are forced to get married. So obviously this is going to create some complications because Lou being a witch and Reed being a witch hunter and him hating witches and essentially hunting them as his day job is going to create some complications when you find out your wife is a witch. So, you know, sounds like it's gonna be saucy and a lot of drama, which I'm all about. So that's what made me pick this series up, and I loved it. It is so good, and I cannot wait to get to this. Like, what is gonna happen? Actually, no, you know what? I started listening to the audiobook of this, and girl, no. Nope. Nope. I listened to the first chapter, which is from Lou's perspective, and then I started listening to the second chapter, which is from Reed's perspective. And when I heard the narrator for Reed, I was like, no, I cannot listen to this. I don't know, the voice, the way that that person was speaking, it was so lackluster and emotionless, and it felt like a robot, like, you know, when you go into Google Translate and you press that audio thingy to hear the robot pronounce the word. It felt like that. And obviously that's not something you want from an audiobook, and so I was like, you know what, to hell with the audiobook, I'm just gonna get to it when I get to it. And so physical is the only option I have now. Next up, I have the books that sort of give me the dark academia vibes that I'm craving currently, which I'm trying to satisfy by reading A Discovery of Witches. But I'd like to keep my options open in case my craving for dark academia is not satisfied, and so I have some other books here that are like dark academia with magic, and I'm gonna talk a bit about them. So the first one I have here is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I really love Naomi Novik's writing. I have read two of her other books, Uprooted and Spinning Silver, and absolutely loved. Oh my goodness, chef's kiss. Amazing writing and amazing books and amazing story and just amazing everything. And so when I found out that she was coming out with this book, I was like, yes, I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna pick it up as soon as it's in my hands. Obviously that has not happened, but I still want to read it. I know I'm gonna love the book. I know I'm gonna love the story and the writing, but there's a but. I have heard some iffy things about this, but I'm not entirely sure what is the controversy with this book. I tried looking into it, but it was, I don't know, it felt kind of vague and I didn't understand what the iffiness with this book is. So if anyone knows and could explain to me what exactly is controversial about this book, I would really like to know. If you could do me the favor of just explaining to my dumb brain that cannot read internet articles or whatever, please do so. I do not know too much about this book. All I know is that there's this magical school and you go there and you either graduate or die. Hence, it's a deadly education. The title is quite explanatory, and that's about as much as I want to know or need to know about this book. And the other dark academia book that I have here is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I have heard some really good things, but then some iffy things about, well, not iffy, but like some people that did not enjoy this as much, and I'm curious to see where in that spectrum I'm gonna fall. I think I'm gonna like this, but who knows? You never know. What I know about this book is that it takes place at Yale and it has the dark academia vibes, obviously. And I know there's something to do with magic, and I know that there's something to do with secret societies as well. That is all I know. And honestly, I don't want to know more. Again, keeping it vague, just a couple of words and some vibes, and that's it. Based off of those vibes, this sort of gives me like The Magicians stuff, but like the TV show, because I have not read the books and I don't think I will. But I do love that TV show. Honestly, if you haven't watched it, just watch it. But from the description of this, it gives me The Magicians vibes. And knowing how much I love that series, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love this as well. So this is a strong contender for the month of February. And now I have two more contenders for my February TBR. The second to last is Blood Heir by Emily Van Zhao. This one I want to read because the sequel is coming out soon, and I read like an excerpt of this a while ago and I loved what I read. I was super intrigued, but back then I did not have the book, like the physical book. And by the time I actually acquired a copy, I was into something else. That doesn't mean that I still don't want to read this. I do very much want to read it. I just have not picked it up yet, which is how my TBR just gets bigger and bigger, which is a problem, but that's a whole story for another day. What I know about this book from reading that excerpt is that we have a princess who is the heir for this kingdom, but she is sort of exiled, if I remember correctly. She's exiled because she has this like blood bending power, so she can control the blood from inside humans and therefore control the humans like puppets or marionettes. Not sure what the difference is between those two, but anyway, you get the gist of it. So that is everything I know about this book, and honestly it sounds amazing already, and it seems like it's gonna be this like dark fantasy with some brutal gory stuff happening, which is very much up my alley, and I want to read it. I might read it, I might not read it. I don't know. I would love to get to this because there's like a readathon happening before the release of the sequel, which is called Red Tigress, if I'm not mistaken. I have the worst memory ever, but who knows if this is gonna happen. I'd love to participate in the readathon, but like I'm already in the middle of some books and I have priorities, and who knows if I'm gonna get to this. And I don't want to be in the middle of like 300 books at the same time. That's not a good thing, so we shall see. And the last book on this TBR gives me similar vibes to Blood Heir, and this book is Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. And honestly, I have not a single idea what this book is about. None. Is that a smart thing? Probably not. Well, I know that I did read the synopsis for this at some point and I loved it, but since then I have forgotten it. It is completely erased from my memory, and so I'm left with like this lingering feeling that tells me I'm gonna love this book. Does that make any sense? No. Does it make sense to me? Yeah, sort of. Again, I don't really need much to want to read a book. And what this is giving me is like dark fantasy. Obviously, there's like this blood stain here. I feel like it's gonna be dark and gory, and I don't know, but it's giving me something. And same story with this one. I think the last book in the trilogy is coming out, Blessed Monsters, and there's a readathon happening for the series for Wicked Saints, and the second, which is Ruthless Gods. So again, a readathon happening before the release of the last book, and I would love to participate in it. Will I actually have the time? Who knows? Do I want to? Yes. Will I try? Maybe. I don't know. Again, we shall see. It all remains to be seen. Like I said, I'm a mood reader, I'm an impulsive reader, so I don't know if any of these things are actually gonna happen, but I guess you're gonna have to wait till the end of February to find out. And that was it for this month's TBR. It is overly ambitious. I know for a fact I will not get to all of these, but these are just options. Keeping my options open, which is perfectly alright, and it also gives me an excuse to talk about books that I want to read that I have not mentioned yet. And I will take every excuse I can get to talk about books, because this is what I love doing, this is why I've made this channel. Anyhow, I do hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did and you would like to see more of this rambling ass right here, please give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe if you want to. And so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video.